Caitlyn Clark has been fearless on the court since she was a kid, and her former teachers have the stories to prove it. Recently, an old video resurfaced featuring Clark's childhood teachers, reminiscing about her unshakable competitive spirit. In the clip, her elementary school teachers recall Clark going head to head with the boys in every setting, whether in class, at recess, or during pickup games. She just went toe to toe with all the boys like it didn't matter, one teacher says in the video. Another adds that Clark's interviews today remind them exactly of the student they knew back in the day, confident, competitive, and completely unfazed by the challenge in front of her. This kind of mindset was evident early on. While most kids were writing down standard dreams of becoming astronauts or veterinarians, Clark had her sights set on one goal: the WNBA. Her third grade teacher, Kathleen Dre, remembers a class project where students wrote down their dreams. Clark's was simple and direct. She wanted to play professional basketball. She was just wired differently. Dry said in an interview with IndyStar, "The drive you see now, that was already there back in elementary school." From playground battles to pro-level grind, Clark's next evolution. Clark's tenacity propelled her to a dominant high school career at Dowling Catholic, followed by a historic run at the University of Iowa. Now, after an explosive rookie season in the WNBA, where she led the league in assists and took the Indiana Fever to their first playoff appearance since 2016, she's focused on leveling up even more. Her coach, Stephanie White, recently shared insights into Clark's offseason training, noting that she's been working on her strength and efficiency. "She's got a lot of self-awareness," White told The Athletic. "She figured out right away that she needed to get stronger so she wouldn't get knocked around as much." Clark's off-season grind has included strength training, refining her shot selection, and addressing turnovers, an area that drew criticism during her first season. Her dedication has been evident in training sessions released by the Fever, showcasing her relentless work ethic. Even at the highest level, Clark is still the same competitor her teachers remember, the one who never backed down, who thrived on competition, and who always knew exactly where she was headed. The WNBA's offseason has been swift and sudden, with trades and signings that have impacted the fortunes of both contenders and rebuilders. Which teams are the biggest winners and losers of free agency so far? Winner, Indiana Fever. The Fever vastly improved on the margins, signing veteran free agents like DeWanna Bonner and Natasha Howard, and trading for a complimentary outside shooter in Sophie Cunningham. Re-signing Kelsey Mitchell also signals that the Fever are serious about building a true title-contending team around Caitlyn Clark. The Fever added both shooting and front-court experience, which is something they severely lacked last year. The team could use another center to back up Aaliyah Boston, but, for now, the team has done a good job building this roster around their core. The Fever know that the best time to be aggressive in free agency is now. While Clark is still on her rookie deal, they've done exactly that, turning this team into a true title contender overnight. Loser, Las Vegas Aces. To be clear, the Aces are still a title contender because of A'ja Wilson alone. However, that doesn't change the fact that this offseason has been pretty disastrous. The Aces lost two beloved assistants in Tyler Marsh and Natalie Nakase to head coaching jobs with the Chicago Sky and Golden State Valkyries, respectively. Nakase was able to lure both Kate Martin and 2024 Sixth Player of the Year Tiffany Hayes to Golden State. The Aces also lost 2023 Sixth Player of the Year Alicia Clark to the Seattle Storm, while locker room favorite Sydney Colson signed with aforementioned Fever. Those losses crater their depth from last season. Jewell Loyd is a decent return for losing Kelsey Plum, but Loyd is a downgrade from Plum, and her fit in the offense could be questionable given her preferred style of play. To make matters worse, the Aces forfeited their first-round pick in this year's draft due to the WNBA investigation into head coach Becky Hammon's treatment of De'Arica Hamby. The Aces did sign Cheyenne Parker-Tyus and will get to see former Virginia Tech star Liz Kitley make her WNBA debut, which means the team will have some front-court depth around Wilson. However, this offseason has been a step in the wrong direction for a Las Vegas team hoping to get back to the championship. Winner, Seattle Storm. After Jewell Loyd's trade request, the Storm recovered nicely, gaining the number 2 overall pick in this year's draft. Seattle was able to re-sign Gabby Williams, Nneka Ogwumike, and bring home Alicia Clark. The team also traded for Lexi Brown, who brings outside shooting, something this team has sorely lacked for years. Erica Wheeler also was signed last week, giving the team plenty of guard depth. Losing Jordan Horston to a torn ACL was a massive blow, but the Storm still retained most of their core from last year while having the option of selecting anyone in this year's draft, not named Paige Buchers. Point guard seems like the obvious priority. One could only imagine what a Skylar Diggins-Smith and Olivia Miles backcourt could achieve. However, after the Wheeler and Brown signings, the team could be looking to go in a different direction in this year's draft. Expect Seattle to be one of, if not the, best defense in basketball this year. Loser, Connecticut Sun. After multiple finals runs in the Alyssa Thomas era, the Sun decided to pull the plug and trade her to Phoenix. Signaling a rebuild, right? Aside from the fact that the Suns' return for Thomas was pretty underwhelming, they now have two veterans in Natasha Cloud and Marina Mabrey on the roster, both of whom could be moved for draft compensation. Instead, the team, for now, has decided to hold on to both players. The Sun are in a terrible spot because they don't own their first-round pick next year, meaning it wouldn't benefit them to tank this season. But given the talent in the 2027 draft class, tanking this year and next year should probably be the approach since the lottery odds combine team records from the previous two seasons. Furthermore, keeping two veterans on one-year deals is a bad look and makes no sense from a team-building standpoint. Not to mention, Mabrey's agent has been vocal about the 26-year-old wanting to be traded. He has criticized the Sun organization for essentially holding her hostage. A team in this situation should be collecting draft picks and looking to tank for a better return, not keeping around disgruntled veterans who have trade value for a pointless 20-win season that will ruin their chances of getting a superstar like Juju Watkins in 2027. WNBA superstar A'ja Wilson and United States gymnast Jordan Chiles graced the cover of Time magazine on Thursday morning. During an interview with the reigning WNBA MVP, Time asked about the comments from Indiana Fever star Caitlyn Clark, who admitted to having privilege as a white athlete. Clark, who won WNBA Rookie of the Year honors after averaging 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game, was named Time's Athlete of the Year and opened up on her position in sports. "I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege," Clark said at the time. "A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important." Wilson admitted the comments from Clark were powerful. "It's powerful to me. As a black woman in the WNBA, we have our struggles in showcasing who we really are. A lot of agendas get pushed on a lot of different platforms that may shadow us," she said. "You work so hard, but you still have to work 10 times harder just to be seen. So when we can have our counterparts speak up, it speaks volumes to me because they're in spaces where my path is never supposed to go. It's crazy that we're talking about that in 2025, but it's real. We see those things as black women. We see where people stand up and speak for us." Wilson made it clear she doesn't believe Clark should have received backlash for her comments, but also admitted she has to deal with scrutiny and work that much harder to prove she's one of the best. "I know Clark got a lot of backlash from that because obviously we live in a world where they don't want that, and it's exhausting. But imagine dealing with that and then having to go out and play every single night, having to constantly have to worry. How are they about to downgrade my resume now?" she said.